Well, I hope you want some content, friends, because we just got the update video for Chaos Zero Nightmare Season 1. I'll play it out in the back here and I'll skip around and talk about some important things. But effectively, this was packed and I am incredibly excited. I want to share that with you. And so we're going to take down this update video. We're going to break it apart. I'm going to tell you all of my different thoughts on the different parts. And we'll skip anything that is apparently filler, but I'll tell you there really was not much filler at all in this entire presentation. So let's pause here. This is the first piece. They talk about these new seasons, and the way that they are structuring the seasons, I really like. It's a continuous 9 weeks, but every 3 weeks, there is going to be where they bring in new episodes and they bring in the new characters. So you'll see in the middle here, we have Yuki. She is the one that will launch with us on November 12th when the update hits, and she'll be in the banner for 3 weeks. And then they'll switch to another character, one of these two on the side, I would assume. And then we'll have the next 3 weeks of content and the next 3 weeks of, kind of reset missions, things of that nature. And you'll see the layout here. This is the event screen. And we're going to talk about the different things. There's new chaos, new story, a great rift. There's like a score mode in there. And then a, kind of two-party challenge system. So a lot to go on. There's stores in here where you can use event currencies, which you'll see at the top and the right here, to buy, various different things that, of course, you're going to get with events. Obviously very common for gacha games, but we need our version here, okay? And so he just goes to talk about, some of these different things. And they talk about, too, which I really like, is they have a seasonal deck. And what this means, you'll see the icon right here, is that the seasonal update itself, the content within the seasonal update, is played using new seasonal save data. So you're going to want to go through the content to get this new save data, build these new decks, and then take it through the various different challenges. You'll also be able to take these decks out of there and then use them in your other content as well. So they're not just gated and you never get to use them again after these 9 weeks. You'll get to use them in your other modes like the basin and whatever else. And then for those of you who don't, know life the game like I do, maybe you touch grass more than I do, you will be able to play the stories and the chaos after the season. So if you can't get through absolutely everything during the season, don't fret if you're interested in the story and the chaos mode. You'll be able to do this later. So don't worry too much about that. They do then go into showing a bit of a preview about what the season is about. I would recommend going to their official video, checking this out for yourself. I'm not going to spend the next 5 minutes having you watch it on my screen, but it does look neat. I do like the way that they're doing it. There's obviously Yuki back there a second ago. I will say that, and maybe this will be controversial, I don't like the attitude of the character, so she's probably not so much for me. She does have cool effects. She has cool animations. She looks like she's going to be a really powerful AoE damage dealer, but the story hasn't been doing much for me anyways, and she's not helping that scenario in the way that she is. But look, I don't yuck other people's yums. If she has the style, attitude that you like, please go and enjoy her. You're going to get a fun unit from a combat perspective anyways, and I love the animations that they did for her. So we'll get into those as we get into her section. But from the story part, it does look interesting. I'm hoping the quality is a step up from what we saw in the main story. Again, I went through the entire story through the middle of chapter 5 and then finally started skipping because it just became completely uninteresting to me. So I'm going to give the story a shot. I'm going to read through it, and then hopefully we'll start to see the makings of a better story coming with the seasonal content. We'll see. And so then he also talks briefly about these other two characters. These are going to be our other two seasonals. And so, they didn't say what order, but maybe this is the next one, and then the angel-looking one is after. And this will be, after 3 weeks, the next one opens. After another 3 weeks, the final one opens. Both of these have really cool designs. I particularly am interested in this wing-looking one. She's got a really cool sci-fi vibe to me. So I'm hoping she's more of a support. We have so many DPS, I just want more supports in there, but I love supports in these games anyways. Maybe even a tank, I'll take a new shielder. And then this one, I don't know, but I would guess a DPS. She's got this cool robot floating arm. Her arms are tied up behind her back. Enjoy that look. And has this, cool looking katana. So can't wait to see what their kits are all about. We'll get those in quite a few weeks from now. So look forward to those in a later part of this update. And then they go into, of course, Yuki. She's an order striker. She is all about the AoE damage, and she runs off of initiative, so by drawing her cards she can use her cards, and she has some mechanics they talk about which are doing things like you can lower the cost of your cards but also lower the damage so you can play more of them, or you can kind of more manipulate your draw and being able to hunt down specific cards. And again, that's at the expense of maybe dropping their damage a little bit, but I think that's going to be a really cool, interesting play there. especially when you think about others that can help your card draw, you know, the likes of Cassius, or like they show this right here with Nia. And they do go through a couple, you know, battles with her with different team compositions, which I really like that they did this, because it can give you some ideas on how to build her. And my thoughts as far as pulling her, and I'll go more in depth once I see more about her cards. Yes, I've seen the leaks. No, I don't talk about leaks. But for me personally, being that she is of a green element and I have Hugo and I have Tressa, I can actually AoE with those two, ironically enough, because neither one of them are built for AoE. And I don't know that I have a particular need to go chase her down with the limited units, but I do think she looks cool. I do think her powers are cool. And so when she comes to a standard banner, hopefully I will pull her then. But I do think for me, unless they've built the content to where you absolutely have to have her and her specifically, I might just pass on her. We'll see. I'll get into our reader kit and I'll read all of her cards and epiphanies at a later date, and I'll make a decision then. But her effects, her animations, super cool. Like that move right there, love that ice move. And then her ego skill is so cool. Let's see. They've got to have it in here at some point. Oh, here we go. Okay, I'm sorry. How awesome was that? That was an absolutely awesome ego skill. So if you need an AoE damage dealer, obviously she's going to be great for this content cycle and just in general. But if you have AoE damage dealers, you might be okay without her. Let's get into the cards later, and we'll see what we think. So let's skip ahead. They did quite a bit of preview. You can see all the different preview battles. They talk about some of her cards. Again, I'll wait till I can just see her full kit in a couple days and, you know, really kind of theory craft in my head what it's all about. They show her new partner. The new partner is very tailored for her. I don't know that you'll need a ton of use of her if you don't have, you know, Yuki, but, you know, whatever. You're going to get partners with these characters anyways. So it is what it is. And then they go into the chaos. So this update, and I'm excited for this, has a whole new chaos mode. And think of it just like the chaos we have now. It's going to be roguelike. It's going to have, you know, the paths that branch out. It has its own story. And what's really cool is they talked about within this story, there's like a hidden research kind of thing going on. And you have to pick a certain path to be able to get to that part of that chaos. So it sounds like even within the branching paths, you have different destinations, different ways that you can go about it. And I think that's really unique. I think that's a really cool way to enhance the roguelike element by then also having almost like two versions. I'm not sure what to call it, but it kind of sounds like, hey, I can go version A, or I get this special thing and I go version B. So this is here, it's the dimensional tunnel suddenly appears. And if you think about the starting cards that you get when you first walk into a chaos, one of them is revealing that location. Also with the season, they have new monster cards, new basic cards, cards that you're only going to get in the season chaos, but these cards will come to the other modes after the season ends. And so I will do a separate video covering all of these cards. I think they look really neat. Like look at this one, a 9 cost card, and obviously this has ways to bring that down because that's very rare to run 9 AP. But these are going to be very interesting cards. We're going to have all sorts of cool ways to try to synergize them with our teams. And again, there's going to be new common cards, and these will go into the pool later. The only thing that I think about, and this isn't necessarily negative, just so much of as a thought here, is as we go through seasons, if we're adding 8 common cards a season and then they go into the common drop pool for the other modes later, I wonder if that might become an issue of making that pool too big. And so if you're really trying to get, I don't know, like a rally card, or maybe you really want this self-generating experiment, you have so many other cards that statistically you just see it less. So I hope that there's, I don't know, ways that you can better target the common cards later. Not sure what that would look like. Maybe just more events that let you select from a much wider pool. It'll be interesting to see how they handle that. But again, I'll go through all these cards later. I'll have a whole separate video. That way this one doesn't drag out too long. And then, as a note here, they're not going to be limited. After the season ends, they'll go into the other modes. So you'll have a chance. If you just skip the whole season, you'll at least be able to get these. And then again, you've got a couple of cool monster cards sitting here. Activate the bottom 1 card from the draw pile. Choose 1 card in hand and move them to the bottom. That's pretty cool. And it's a 0 cost. And then this one here, an exhaust with a draw 1. If there's no cards in hand, draw 4 extra. So this is kind of like you can refill your hand back up, like really kind of unique creative cards. And I love that, you know, they have this level of creativity. It really kind of pushes your thought process on deck building, which is one of the things I love the absolute most about this game. Then they go into another mode. So again, there are so many modes in this new update. You can't be bored. And this mode is boss fighting. And so you've got bosses that we've already had before. So we got the Aqua one, we've got this the big dude, and then the I don't know, the shadow dog. I forget these guys' names. And on these, you're going to use your seasonal save data, and you can add modifiers to them. So you can start basic and have them be, maybe difficult, but not insanely difficult. And then you increase these modifiers, and the more modifiers you have, the better that your rewards will become. And I think even in here, they will show at some point the kind of reward path, if I'm not mistaken. And so it's really trying to challenge you and challenge your deck building. Again, something I am very in love with this game. And so then, as I said, you get more rewards the more you push those modifiers. So obviously, the higher level your characters are, the more built out they are, and the better you synergize your decks, the better you're going to do, within this mode. And that's not the only mode. So there's even another one, which this one I'm pretty excited about. It reminds me slightly of Dimensional Basin, and the guy there even said so. But you have this 2-team mode where you are fighting a particular monster, and you only have so many turns, and you're trying to push a score within those turns. So you can see down here, we got team 1, team 2, whatever. And this is really interesting because it's going to bring about a different kind of way to think about fights. And so normally you can think about, oh, well, if I can just stack shields and, heal up, I can get through this. But this might look more towards, oh, I really want to spike my damage up and, not spend much time, in this fight. So you can see it here. I'm going to show it really quickly. And so eventually he bounces. He's like, I'm out. And then your second team comes in. And so you're not going to have as much time to get through this. And I think that's a really interesting way to do, these new fights. And then what's also cool is you can check what other teams people use and what their builds are. This is fantastic because if you're not sitting on my Discord or other people's Discords where we'll talk about the different modes and the different builds and this character and what this one did, then you might be a little bit in the dark at some of these really cool strategies. And this is a place where you can just come in here and, click on Clipe and see what they put in their build. And if this is the number one player, you might be like, oh, I never thought about putting that common card with that character. And now I see how that could be very impactful. So this will be, I think, a really interesting challenge type mode. And there's more. So then they go into, the rewards. And basically there's that special icon, you just saw it there. And that's going to be used in the shop. The shop will refresh every 3 weeks. So as we get the new characters, we'll put new shop items in. And you can see what it is here. I mean, it's your typical, you've got 5 of the premium pools, 5 of the standard pools, the cameras, materials to upgrade your progression tree. I'm spacing on the name of it. And I'm sure there's a lot of other things down below that we can't see. And so obviously being Gacha, we're going to want to do what we always do, which is come in here and clear out these shops. Every bit of the items they showed there were valuable. And here's one of the biggest ones. This is the Omega code, which allows you to unlock an ego, so a duplicate of a character. So if you're really trying to push your Hugo up, or if the game is forcing you to like it does for me, then you've got a way to go in there and say, hey, I want to give them that next push on their ego levels. So this is going to be probably the prize jewel of the entire shop as I see it. Other than that, we keep going. They're going to have some login rewards. We'll skip past these really quickly, but basically you're going to get places to get anchors. You're going to get 5 regular, 5 standard, or 5 regular, 5 premium. There's going to be another one for the camera things, whatever you call them. Yeah, these things. Again, I suck with names. There's another one for gems or jewels. So you're going to have all these different like login reward type things. Like most gacha games with big updates, they're going to give you all these different ways to get all these different things. And then they also have some rewards for doing the arc. So hopefully you've been running your arc and, leveling it up and everything else. But it looks like we've got some pretty decent rewards here. We got some affinity things, some gems. It looks like this is going up through level 40. I'm not sure if it goes past that. I think it might already be at level 40. So for those of us that have been pushing it, you're probably just going to log in and have rewards. I'm not mad at that. And then another thing they're doing is for the leveling tracks, they have added more rewards to the earlier stages to help you level up your early characters. And for those of us that are well past this, I think I'm level 50 now, they are going to just give this to you in your mail. So don't worry if you've leveled past this, you're not going to lose out at all. You will just get it as a in-game mail item. And then they close out by saying there is going to be a special mail after this broadcast. I've not logged in to see what it is, so I'm going to take that surprise along with you. That is the live stream itself, but there was one other thing that we need to talk about. And this is they also launched a developer update right alongside this update. So this one is a bit shorter and some of it's redundant, so we'll skip past like these rewards here. And they're talking about first major one here, save data is a core feature, and as they said in other things, they feel that it's not transparent enough. And so with the update, they've made storeable data, save data easier to identify and added additional help information to make it more intuitive. They're going to have more details in the patch notes. I think we'll just get in the game and see what that looks like. So I'm interested to see how much we learn as we go through our runs and how we can better make our decisions, but we'll just wait for more details there. And then they do talk about the codex merging. Codex merging is the zero system when you go and start like a new planet or whatever. And it's expensive and you can drain a lot of credits there. So they are going to cut it by 20%. That's a good start. I still honestly don't think that's quite enough, but we'll take what we can get. And they're going to give you 1 free per day. So if you're the kind of person that goes in there and does this once or twice a day, I think you're probably in a good spot. If you're someone who runs this heavily, then maybe this isn't quite as good for you. But keep in mind that if you clear and beat a stage, you get that same planet without spending another merge. So you also have benefits of just finishing it. And then they're enhancing the UI for memory fragments. Honestly, I don't know that I've really had a problem with this. So I'm happy this will help somebody. They're going to better label like the slots and things like this. But I don't know. I've just basically gone through and put things where I want them. So I don't know. I want to see this in practice. Maybe there's something I'm not thinking about. They're going to change the filtering to make that a little bit easier. But I don't know that I've had really much complaint on the memory fragment system. It hasn't been an issue for me. Then they talk about the affinity system. Basically, it's slow, and they're going to be adjusting that. They'll be adjusting excursions, more chances to get the gifts that you share. They're going to have like a favorited system. So a lot of stuff here. This is going to be another thing in December that they do. So looking at December, they're giving a messenger system, which will be special stories, in-game events. And of course, they said this is placeholder. We're not getting 99,000 of these items at every level. So, this will be adjusted to whatever they think is appropriate. But this is good. It's good to see that they're going to, make this preferred gift system better. And also they're going to lower some of the requirements for the mission. So it's not as hard to complete your missions where it's like, group 1, group 2, group 3, whatever. And then they're also doing some other feature systems like a quick formation system and a turn indicator within battles, which that's going to be really cool because I know like with the basin, you have to do it within so many turns. And if I'm not even close and I was at turn 12, I might just bounce. And right now I don't know unless I'm just counting and I usually forget to. So we'll see. And they're going to give another permanent content mode, tentatively called Purification Protocol, which they'll share more information about later on. They don't go into any specifics down here. They're going to give us 300 crystals for this update, and it's going to be held between the 8th and 14th, so make sure you get into the game and claim your rewards, of course. So look, a ton of information there. I'm not even going to recap because I just recapped it for you. But basically, I would encourage you going through that live stream, or it's not a live stream, whatever, that video. It's got so much good information there. I will make, again, separate videos talking about the cards. I'll make separate videos for Yuki when I can really digest her cards more. I don't like using the leaked ones because there may be changes from that. And until our next video, friends, please take care of yourselves.